So today we are talking about a very fascinating state of India, which is अब वीडियो का टाइटल तो आपने देख ही लिया है, तो देरी किस बात की? बिहार. Bihar is a state in eastern India, which is the third largest state by population and the 12th largest by territory. Only 11.3% of the population of Bihar lives in urban areas, which is the lowest in India after Himachal Pradesh. Additionally, almost 58% of Biharis are below the age of 25, giving Bihar the highest proportion of young people in any Indian state. Now let's delve a little deeper into the history of this land. In ancient and classical India, the area that is now Bihar was considered a center of power, learning and culture. From Magad arose India's first empire, the Maurya Empire. And for a very long time, Buddhism was practiced in this region. Since the late 1970s, Bihar has lagged far behind other Indian states in terms of social and economic development. Many economists and social scientists claim that this is a direct result of the policies of the central governments since 1947, when India got independence. Policies such as the freight equalization policy, among others, are cited as the cause. Not to forget about the centre's apathy towards Bihar, the lack of a Bihari sub-nationalism, and the permanent settlement of 1793 by the British East India Company. What could be pointed out as a positive here is the fact that the state government, however, has been able to make significant strides in developing the state. Improved governance has led to an economic revival in the state through increased investment in infrastructure, better healthcare facilities, greater emphasis on education, and a reduction in crime and corruption. Buddhism in Magad went into decline due to the invasion of Muhammad bin Bakhtiyar Khalji, during which many of the viharas were destroyed along the universities of Nalanda and Vikramshila. A notable mention is the fact that the 10th and last Guru of Sikhism, which is Guru Gobind Singh Ji, was born in Patna in 1666. With political instability in the Mughal Empire following Aurangzeb's death in 1707, Murshid Quli Khan declared Bengal's independence and named himself the Nawab of Bengal. After the Battle of Buxar in 1764, the British East India Company obtained the Diwani rights, which is the rights to administer and collect tax revenue for Bihar, Bengal and Odisha. The rich resources of fertile land, water and skilled labor had attracted the foreign imperialists, particularly the Dutch and British, in the 18th century. A number of agriculture-based industries had been started in Bihar by foreign entrepreneurs. Bihar remained a part of the Bengal Presidency of British India until 1912, when Bihar and Orissa were carved out as two separate provinces. Coming to the pre-independence era, 1914 to be precise, farmers in Champaran had just revolted against indigo cultivation, and in 1917, Mahatma Gandhi visited Champaran, where Rajkumar Shukla had drawn his attention to the exploitation of the peasants by European indigo planters, which was followed by the Champaran Satyagraha, which received support from many Bihari nationalists such as Rajendra Prasad and Anugrah Narayan Sinha. This led to the formation of the All India Kisan Sabha at the Lucknow session of the Indian National Congress in April 1936. Coming to the demographics, as per the 2011 census, Bihar was the third most populous state of India with a total population of 10 crores 40 lakhs 99,452, nearly 89% of it being in the rural areas. It was also India's most densely populated state, with 1106 persons per square kilometer. The sex ratio was 918 females per 1000 males. And moving on to the administration, the state is administratively divided into 9 divisions and 38 districts. For the administration of urban areas, Bihar has 12 municipal corporations, 49 Nagar Parishads, which is city councils, and 80 Nagar Panchayats, which is town councils. By 2004, The Economist magazine said that Bihar had become a byword for the worst of India, of widespread and inescapable poverty, of corrupt politicians indistinguishable from mafia dons they patronize, caste-ridden social order that has retained the worst feudal cruelties. In 2005, the World Bank believed that issues faced by the state were enormous because of persistent poverty, complex social stratification, unsatisfactory infrastructure, and weak governance. Looking at the present political scenario, there are basically two main political formations or political alliances that claim to come to power. The first is the National Democratic Alliance, the NDA, which comprises of the Bharatiya Janata Party, which is presently in power at the center, the Lok Janshakti Party, and the Janata Dal United. So the BJP, LJP and the JDU form the NDA. And the second alliance between the Rashtriya Janata Dal, which is Lalu Prasad Yadav's party, Hindustani Awam Morcha, Rashtriya Lok Samta Party, and the Indian National Congress. These together form the UPA, the United Progressive Alliance. There are many other political formations, but none of them strong enough to form the government on their own. The Communist Party of India, CPI, had a strong presence in Bihar at one time, which has since weakened. Talking about the present Chief Minister, Nitish Kumar has been the Chief Minister of Bihar for 13 years between 2005 and 2020. In contrast to prior governments, which emphasized divisions of caste and religion, his political platform was based on economic development, reduction of crime and corruption, and greater social equality. Since 2010, the government has been confiscating properties of corrupt officials and redeploying them as school buildings. They've also introduced Bihar Special Court Act to curb crime. They've also legislated a 2-hour lunch break on Fridays to enable Muslim employees to pray and thereby reduce absenteeism. The government has prohibited the sale and consumption of alcohol in the state since March 2016, which has been linked to a drop in tourism and a rise in substance abuse. One of the most important aspects of satisfaction and happiness of people is public health and healthcare facilities. So talking about the healthcare facilities in Bihar, Bihar generally ranks weakest in health outcomes in comparison to other Indian states. While the National Health Mission, the Clinical Establishments Act of 2010 and the formation of the Empowered Action Group provide federal funds to expand and improve healthcare services, Bihar's ability to fully utilize the fund is lacking. When comparing Bihar to Kerala, the number of healthcare professionals, including registered nurses, auxiliary nurses, physicians and health supervisors at each hospital are significantly lower and remain constant over time while they are steadily increasing in number in Kerala. According to Ministry of Health statistics, the greatest shortfalls are for physicians and specialists at 75%. Bihar has only 50% of the sub-health centers, 60% of the primary health centers, and 9% of the community health centers required by the National Supply to Population Standards. The number of public hospital beds in Bihar decreased between 2008 and 2015. Given the high population density of the state, Bihar is significantly behind the number of healthcare professionals that should be employed. Despite these shortcomings, Bihar has shown gradual signs of improvement for female health workers, death rate, and infant, neonatal, child and maternal mortality rates. Another important point would be of the economy. Bihar's gross state domestic product, the GDP of Bihar for fiscal year 2020-2021 is estimated to be rupees 6.86 lakh crore. By sector, the composition is expected to be 20% to agriculture, 19% to industry, and 61% to services. The purpose of all these topics that we discussed today is not to create any kind of political bias or opinions that this government is better or the opposition is better, but to just show a reflection or to reflect on how the state has done since the independence of India and what are the core issues that are affecting the lives of the people living in Bihar, and therefore what are the issues the political parties must focus on to take Bihar forward and ensure benefit in the lives of each and every citizen.